Let's take a look at an example of a Windows workload and how you could architect that in an Azure environment. Let's say you've got a web application that uses SQL Server, and the web application, it needs to be public facing, it needs to be highly available, and your SQL Server databases need to be really local, not have direct public access, only have access from your web applications, right? And so you could have it set up so you've got your client machines are going over port 80, they're connecting up to your IIS machines, and I could have that load balance, I could have it in what's called an availability set, which we'll talk about later, and the client's connecting to those. It's all very easy to set up. And this is in one subnet in a virtual network. It's got what's called a network security group with rules that allow direct access from external systems, right? The IIS machines are then communicating with your multiple SQL Server machines, where I may have what's called a sharded architecture, where I've got different machines maintaining different data, all right? They are being communicated directly. They have their own subnet within the virtual network. It's got its own set of network security group rules so that it's a very secure environment. There's no direct access from the external clients. All of this starts to get towards a complex architecture. The really cool thing in Azure is that this is all very straightforward to configure. I create my virtual network, I create my subnets in the virtual network. That's a couple of lines of configuration code, or it could be done even through the portal. I start my virtual machines, I add them to what are called availability groups as I create them. I add them to the right virtual network. I assign the right network security group rules to the right virtual or subnet. So easy to set this up. And I say that again, I'm not a hardcore infrastructure guy. I've set this kind of architecture up multiple times in Azure. So it gives you that ability to not only take away the hardware maintenance and the licensing maintenance to some extent, depending on how you're setting things up, but it also just frankly makes it much easier and much more direct to use the capabilities to define the right architecture for your application.